So before we go ahead and start weaving in our tail ends on our scarf, I want to show you how to weave in tail ends both on the right side and on the wrong side, because there's simple principles to this that will make it easy for you regardless what project you're working on. And what I've done is I've just knit up a demo swatch here and then used a contrasting color to show you what it should look like when you weave in a tail end. Essentially, what we're doing is we're literally just following a stitch, and I'm picking up a stitch here. And you need to look at that stitch and follow it throughout the stockinette. And in order to do this, you need to understand that in stockinette stitch, you have your stitch, which is, we like to call that the V, and then you have the reverse of that stitch, which is the reverse V, going down. I'm picking up a reverse V here. So when I went into this stitch, if you notice, it comes down and it goes right into that reverse V, and then it comes up and it goes into the stockinette V here. It comes back down, it goes into the reverse V, it comes back up, and it's literally just repeating that. And so let's go ahead and thread our darning needle, and I'll show you exactly how to do this. So I like to just pinch the yarn over the outside of the needle and then thread it through. I find that's just the easiest way for me. Alright, so we're going to go a couple rows up, and let's say that we are following, let me choose a stitch. We're going to go ahead and follow this stitch here. So I'm going to start following it right on the right side of the stitch. I'm going to pick up that reverse V because it goes under that. Then it comes up, as I mentioned, and it goes into that nice stockinette V stitch. So I'm going to go through that stitch. Then it comes back down, and it goes through the reverse V. So I'm literally picking up that stitch, and then it comes back up, and it goes through the stockinette V. And if you notice what's happening in my contrasting yarn is I'm starting to get stockinette V shapes. So this is if you are, again, weaving your tail end in on the stockinette side. This is the principle that you follow. Okay? And if you need a more static illustration of this, on Knitty.com, Tips with Teresa, I find her articles are wonderful. They're very well referenced, and there's also great photos. So Tips with Teresa has a great article on weaving your tail ends in as well if you want to read more about this. So let's flip this and let's look at doing it on the wrong side of the work. And I know it sounds kind of elementary, but the way that I learned this is smiles and frowns, and you'll see why. When you look at the purl side or the wrong side of your work, you will see that on each purl there is a smile and there is also a frown portion of it. And you can even see when you look close up on the opposite side that stockinette that's going through that purl stitch. And essentially that's what we're trying to follow, because the purl stitch goes up and it comes up through the frown, up through the smile, and then back down and around. And if you look at the demo, you'll see that I did that. I was following this here, which the entirety of the stitch is underneath. The entirety of that stitch is in between that smile and that frown, so I'm picking it up here. So in following it, I went down through the smile, down through the frown, up, back up, through this same stitch here, back down and around through here. So I'll go ahead and demonstrate it, but what you'll notice in that contrasting yarn is I'm getting a nice purl stitch out of it, which lays flat and lays nice against my piece. So again, I'll thread my darning needle. And we'll go ahead and start by working this stitch here. And if you can see, it comes down into that smile, down and around. So I'm going to start it here, and I'm going to go up, and then it's going to go back down, back into that same leg of the stitch that I went into, and then it comes back up, and again, that's my frown, going back into that same leg of the stitch. Okay, then we're going to go back down, going back into that same stitch, and you'll notice what's happening is I'm getting a nice purl stitch on my contrasting yarn. So again, we're going to go into this stitch, and we're going to go back into the same exact stitch. So you see now how this is weaving it nicely, and it lays flat. And the benefit of weaving your tails in this way is that it tucks them really nicely into your work. It allows them to lay flat and essentially be invisible. So what we'll do next is we're going to look at our actual scarf, and I used a contrasting yarn to show you how I will be weaving in my tail ends. So we'll see you back in a second.